Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session of Yin Yoga. I'm Debbie Nolan, and this,
I'm Anna Trong.
and we're both with Henrico Recreation and Parks. And we're excited today to bring you this practice. Now, before we even get ready to move into the actual practice, a few things you need to do to set up. First, you need to find a quiet area within your home. Maybe with a door just so that you don't get interrupted, or just it's a quiet, maybe the other end of the house away from the activity. You need to have a yoga mat, but if you don't have a yoga mat, if you have hardwood floors, that type of thing, you could use an area rug or you could use a beach towel. Now, if you have carpet or that area rug, you're going to want a towel anyway underneath your face because, your face doesn't want to get irritated by those fibers in the rug, and it can be very distracting during your practice. So you want to check in those areas. Now, you also might want a yoga block. Now, if you don't have a block, it's best in Yin if you have a firm pillow. So not your sleeping pillow, the one for your head, but maybe a firmer one from one of your chairs, couches, that type of thing, but one that's got a little bit more volume to it, a little bit firmer. And you can actually do the practice without a block at all. So finding and collecting all of those things. Once you've got them, certainly you can pause this and find the stuff, get yourself situated, and then join back in. So today's practice, we're going to focus in Yin on finding depth in our poses, going deeper past the muscles and into the connective tissue, creating space and creating better circulation. But we'll also be holding the poses a little bit longer. And the poses all have different names because the intention of the pose is different from traditional or yang yoga, where it's a far more physical yoga. So today we're going to start in hero's pose. Now Anna's going to move into hero's pose. The number one thing in yoga you always want to do is honor your body. Now, if your knees do not allow you to sit comfortably in hero's pose, you can join me in Sukhasana, easy cross-legged pose. You can also sit on a block if you're a little higher elevated up off your heels. So always a different way of being able to, a variation of being able to get to the same place at the same time, listening to your body. So as we start in hero's pose or in cross-legged pose, just place your hands on your knees, close your eyes for a moment, and just start to find a softening of your body with your breath. Now as you breathe in and out, and we won't be here tremendously long, so as you breathe in and out, just notice if you feel really tight in your hips, and perhaps you allow your tailbone to lengthen downward towards your heels. Perhaps your shoulder blades float in that direction as well. Now as you're breathing in and out, just find the rhythm of your breath. Just like the waves that flow in from the sea, we have a rhythm to our breath as well. So the inhales and the exhales flowing steadily. Now notice the busy thoughts in your mind, and all of those thoughts are important, but you don't need them for the next few moments in our practice. So perhaps you inhale in and honor one of those thoughts, and then when you exhale, you allow that thought to flow away. Very, very nice. So just allowing yourself to be in contact with your breath. Now through our practice of Yin, the body will take the lead and tell us when we're ready to move into deeper expression of the pose. If you move too fast, too soon, you may get a shaky reaction or a little action that feels like the muscles firing. And then in that case, just move back just a little bit, perhaps back to the first variation that you were in, to give the body a little bit more time to move into the pose. Always, once you move into the pose in Yin, go ahead and shut your eyes or close them halfway so that you cut off that visual stimulation as you're moving in the pose, so that you can really feel and be present in the pose itself. Now, as the edges of the muscles start to move, we start to get sensation. So find that sensation that doesn't end in pain. Sharpshooting pain is never good anytime at any place. But here, it's okay to find areas that your body's grumpy in. Start to feel like you're grounded in your practice. Very nice. And then slowly open your eyes. Good. So as you're in hero's pose, either you remain there, or if you're in cross-legged pose, you can remain here, or you can choose to stack your legs in fire log. Now you stay where you are, and I'm going to come here because it's a similar pose, but the knees are bent in a different way. Good. So in a lot of poses, gravity plays a lot of pressure in certain poses. So in hero's pose, that does that. Here, it's the same movement in the knees for the opening in the knee joints, but without that same gravity effect of the weight of your body on the legs. Now, once you're in the position, good. If you're in hero's pose, just bring your hands to the sides and turn your fingertips back. Good. Lean forward ever so gently. Good. Now, if you're in fire log pose, just place your hand, one on the ankle, one on the knee. Take a big inhale, and again, just lean forward. Now, once you're in place, you can move your hands back as well. Same position. Good. So, same pose, same benefits of the pose, just expressed a little bit differently. So I'm in fire, F-I-R-E, log, L-O-G, pose, and that's because the legs look as if you've stacked two pieces of wood in your fireplace. Good. And Anna's in hero pose, like a superhero. Good. So yes, there's sensation in this pose. You can lessen the sensation by bringing the hands closer to your body and turning your fingertips forward. It takes a little bit of that gravity lean out of it. Good. But just as much of yin is mental as physical. So the mental part is, what is holding me back in this pose? Is it physical or is it mental? Do I think I need to come out of the pose because I feel a lot of sensation? Or am I just looking for a way to move out of it? Good. So sometimes the challenge is to just be here for a few moments longer. Now, if you're in fire log pose, you need to change your leg position. And so I'm going to move back upright. Now, Anna, if you will move your hands to your sides, what you want to do is put your hands in front. Good. Now come forward a little bit and tuck your toes under. Good. So her toes are tucked under behind her back. So go ahead and turn sideways so they can see that. Good. And then she's going to come back to her heels again. Now, good. Now here you can put your hands, fingertips beside your body in this version of hero pose, or you can put your hands on your thighs, either one. Good. So whichever one works for you. Now, if you're in fire log pose, you're just going to change the leg that's on top. So we're just going to change that. And again, you want to make sure the bottom shin bone is parallel with your top shin bone. So it's like, again, two pieces of wood stacked one above the other. Good. You should be able to feel and see the entire width of your foot in front of your shin bones. Good. So in fire log, once again, you can bring your hands back. Now, if you're in hero's pose with the toes tucked under, your toes are probably going, oh my goodness. So once again, is it grumpy or is it painful? So that's discerning the difference. Now, you may find that you want to lean forward a little bit and put your fingertips on the floor beside your legs just to ease a little bit of the gravity on those toes. Good. Same pose, same benefit, but taking a little bit of the pressure out. Good. So if you're in fire log, again, you can hinge forward again from your hips. Of course, you can only go so far. Same pose. Now for the sake of our video, we're only holding the poses a shorter length of time. When you're in your practice at home on your own, you'll want to hold these poses from anywhere from 3 minutes, 3 or 4, maybe even 5 minutes. But I'd hold them to the point of, if you weren't using an actual clock, hold them to the point of where you think the sensation is too much to bear. Now, again, not pain, but just maybe it becomes overwhelming for whatever reason. And in that case, you move out of the pose because your mind has gotten distracted away from finding the calmness in the stillness of the pose. And the other thing is you might be holding those superficial muscles really tightly. So notice where you feel that sensation. In Fire Log, it's going to be in your thighs. Good. So see if you can inhale in, and when you exhale out, you can just let go of those holding muscles wherever they are in your body. Good. So one more breath here for both of us. Inhaling in and exhaling out. Good. And then you and Anna and I will both come out of the pose. So Anna, go ahead and move your body weight forward if you're in Hero's pose. Go ahead and untuck your toes. Good. And go ahead and move yourself back towards the front of the mat. Good. And I'm going to stretch my legs out as well. So now we're in a transition pose. You just want to make sure your knees are pointed up. Good. And the transition pose, sometimes they're called digestive poses because it gives your body an opportunity to digest what we just did. So here, just a nice big inhale. And then let's flow forward ever so slightly so you feel the lengthening in the back of your thighs. Good. Your feet can kind of flop. Do keep your kneecaps upright. Good. And just place the hands on your shin bones perhaps. Good. And let your chin come to your chest so we can wake up the back of our neck a bit. So your body itself is longer. Good. And then take a really big inhale and allow yourself to round down towards your thighs, chin on your chest. So feel attached by your tailbone. Good. But then visualize your upper body in kind of an open C shape, the letter C shape. Good. Now, any tension you feel in your middle back or right above the pelvis, take a really big inhale in, and then exhale, let all of that flow down your back and pull that tension away into the mat and away from your body. Good. So we're in caterpillar pose, and again, you might know it as staff pose or seated forward fold. Remembering in Yin, all the poses have new names. They have those new names so that our intention can be totally different because we want to find softening and release in these poses. Very nice. Let's flow back upright as we inhale. Good, and now we're going to move into half dragonfly. So the first leg we're going to start with is our right leg. So we're going to slide that leg over to the side and then bring in the left leg. Now when we do that, where the left leg bends to, you don't want to bring it right up in your groin like you would in a traditional yang practice. So you want to have the leg a little bit away. Maybe it touches your thigh over here, or maybe it's just parallel to your body in front. So shift a little bit side to side so you can feel both halves of your pelvis in place touching the mat because your pelvis is in two halves. And again, we're reaching into that connective tissue in those two halves of your pelvis as well. So first, let's just place our hands and hinge forward, one near a foot, one near a knee. Take a big inhale. Now drop your tailbone down and back and feel your lower back round a bit. Good, and lengthen up to your shoulder blades. Good, so this is just a little bit of a release from the things we did. It's not about how far down you can go. Good. Now on that right leg, make sure your kneecap is pointing up. Your foot may splay out to the side. That's okay. Good. Go ahead, if you did hero's pose, wiggle your toes, hold them wide, hold them as far apart as you can to wake them back up. Good. And then just relax the toes. Very nice. Now take your right hand and place it on your shin bone. Good. Come back up over your hips. There's your right here. Good. Now think about the right shoulder. Good. And rotate your body to the left. Good. Now first just the simple rotation. Very, very steady. Think about that left leg. Is the left leg off the floor? If the knee is off the floor, you can put a blanket or a pillow beneath your knee. You want to anchor so that you don't have any body parts floating in space. Good. Now you may find after you're in the pose for a moment that the leg goes down naturally. So first the hand can just be on the side. Good. Think about what you're feeling that may be holding tight in your left leg and allow it to relax down. Good. Now as far as that left arm, you can leave the arm there. Good. You can touch your shoulder and lift your elbow up. Good. You can actually put your hand behind your head as well. Good. But I like touching the shoulder because it keeps the shoulder open. Good. Now when we lift in the upper body, we tend to naturally just kind of elevate our knees a little bit. So take a really nice inhale in and exhale, relax below the waistline. Try to eliminate any gripping that you may feel, but find the space in the movements themselves. So take care you don't drop down, but that you're still elevated. Good. After you're in the pose for a few moments, you may want to turn your head and look at the right foot. Good. You can also take that left arm and just reach it over the head and allow the arm to drape over your head. But you need to look at your left foot to make that accessible. Good. Now once you're in position, if you changed your arm position, be sure and take a big inhale in and then exhale, release below the waist. Good. Now hand is on the right, perfectly great there. Good. If your foot's accessible and you want to put your fingertips on top of your foot, feel free to do that. But, no need. Good. The hand can be right there on your ankle. So remember, it's not always going to another expression of the pose, but experiencing where you are right now today. Here you should feel a lot of sensation up the left side of your body from the side of your seat area up to your armpit. Very nice. Now come upright and just slide your hand back. Float that arm over your head down. Good. And bring your hands to the left side. Now when you do that, you're going to roll that right leg under and just slide the leg back. Now first thing you want to do, you may feel a lot of resistance right here in your thigh. Now if you feel that, a couple of different things to do. This is running deer or deer pose. You can put a hand in front, in between your feet. Once again, you don't want that front leg right up against your body. This is a more open version of this pose that you may have seen in other areas. So just lift up, shift a little bit. And when you shift back, usually that brings the leg down and takes the pressure off of where you may have felt it. If you have pain in this knee, do not go here. Good. And what can you do? Just stretch the leg back out. Same thing. Good. So we make sure that we can lift our upper body upright first, and we're just here for a few moments. Good. So we start with awake deer. You know, deer are really skitterish, so you know they're always checking their environment before they think about going to sleep. Good. So the first thing when you move into a pose is you start to scan your body for the places that you feel that you're holding in yin. Now, a lot of times we're holding and we don't even realize it in daily life. So start to notice the places that are like your trigger points where you always go to that point and hold. And then breathe your way through it. Good. Now this pose takes a bit of rotation added to it. So for it, we're going to work our way towards our left side. So you're going to bring that right arm around. Good. And the first thing we're going to do is you're probably going to have to reposition your legs. Now I'm going to turn my body towards the front. Anna's going to stay where she is. Good. So that you can see the arm positioning. Now, I am rotating my body at the waistline. So you see when I made that turn, I rotated over my thigh. Good. And I stop right here. Now reposition your hips again so that you have mobility to be able to go over that thigh. Good. So pausing here. Good. Just think about still being alert, but you're thinking about taking that sleeping deer pose to that point. Good. Now several things that you can do. As you inhale and exhale, soften in the back and the waistline. You may reposition that back knee as you feel like your body says, I think I can go a little lower in this. So you may find you bend your elbows. Good. If you have that block, you know, you may find that you can put your elbows on the block. Good. Now for me, I like to go to the elbows. Good. So perhaps over a few breaths, you find yourself being able to go to the elbows. Now, once you go here, you may make two fists and put your forehead on top. Or you can even stack your arms and put your forehead on top of the stacked arms. So you just find the one that speaks to you today. You may very well find elbows down is great, and just bring your chin towards your chest. Good. Now, as you're in the pose, if you're elevated a little bit with your right arm, good, just keep moving a little bit to the left until that shoulder makes contact. Now, oftentimes, some people that have a little bit more flexibility can also go all the way down. And that would be up to you. If you were to go here, you can take the right arm, lift it up, and place it behind your back. Good. So this would be another variation. Just picking the one that speaks to you. You look in the direction of the bent knees. You think about the shoulders being a little more stacked. Now again, you always think about, where am I holding in this pose? Do my toes feel like they're going asleep? Or does some part of my body feel like it's going to sleep? If you have that sensation, just shift your legs around a bit until you find that point where that it goes away. Very nice. So, whatever your position you're in, work your way back to your elbows. And if you're not on your elbows, just come back to the bent arms, arms extended. Good, so let's bring our hands back to the mat now. Good, and then press back upright. So once we do that, good, slide your knees together and then just slide your legs forward. Good. So again, let's just shift a little bit side to just reawaken everything. It's like windshield wipers, only it's, a 2-bun roll. So, and we're going to change to opposite sides. So first we stretch out that left leg for half dragonfly. Good, so once you're in place, shift a little bit side to side so that you feel anchored. Good, and you can start with the hand on the shin bone. The hand can be on the floor even. But, and you can also even, and I don't think I mentioned that, you can put your hand on the block if that's more accessible for you. So all of these good. So first we just start up nice and tall, bend in the right leg. Good. Again, make sure it's not touching, not up in your groin. Now you can have it touching that outer thigh, stretch out a bit, but I usually just keep it away from my body. It's still bent. Same reaction. Now if this knee is elevated a lot, just shift a little bit, lift the bun up on that side, and allow the leg to flow forward. Good, and once you're in place, good, here just start by rotating and look over your shoulder first. So hand on the shin bone on, the left, and then just roll that right shoulder back. So first just think about rolling the shoulder back. You can have the hand on the knee, or you can even take the right hand and put it behind you. Good, and just a little bit of a rotation here. Good. Now when you feel your hips start to relax, actually notice if you're holding tightly in your pelvis. You probably are. So take a big inhale and then just kind of relax in that area. Good, and then you'll notice you can rotate just a little bit more. You may find that you want to take that right hand and touch your shoulder and lift your elbow up. So a variation, you're still looking over your shoulder. Good, and the elbow's high. Good, so inhaling here, shift your upper body a little bit to the right. Good, and then a little bit to the left and go a little deeper. Good. Now that shoulder on the right, roll your shoulder down. Good, and keep your elbow lifted. When you touch your chest, you can take your hand, you can either have your hand on your rib cage or you can have your hand right at your chest, whichever one works. Good. Very nice. So start exploring a little bit how the sensation on this side of the body is different from the way it felt a few moments ago. Very, very, very nice. Now, after a few more breaths, you may find that you want to change the pose ever so slightly. So perhaps you turn and look at that left foot. You might put your hand on the foot. You might keep it there, but rotate your body ever so slightly that way. And then take the right arm and just drape it over your head. Now again, you might find that that just is not going to work on this side. No worries. Come back either to hand on the shoulder. Good. When you turn towards that foot a bit, you can even place your hand on your inner thigh over here. Good. So any of those are good. Good. You can even take your block on the outside of your leg and rest on that as well. Now, once you're in the position, you've tightened everything up in between your knees to your hips. So take a big inhale in. Good. And then just soften in those areas. Good. You should feel a lot of sensation of lengthening down the side of the body. Very, very nice. Now floating the arm off your head. Good, and down. Good. If you had a block on the other side, you might move it over here. So we're going to move into preparation for our running deer. So first, just lean into your right hand, roll that left leg in, and turn it inward. Now first, just assess what you feel. If you have a lot of sensation in that knee that's moving towards pain, stop, straighten the leg back out. Good. If it's just grumpy at the moment, shift around. Good. So find that point where you're not off to the side like so. Even though we're going in that direction at one point, we start out more upright in the pose. Now, what helps you with that? My knee coming forward here helps. Good. So you have to just notice what works for you. Good. So play around with where the leg is. I like my back a little bit more, sometimes forward a little bit more. Good. So come into that pose. Find where you can be here for a few moments. Good. So we start here. Good, and just settling into the sensations. Where are you feeling a lot? Sometimes it's right here in this area, right at the femur joining into the pelvis. Good, in the quadricep connections. Good, you can actually put your hand right here, which helps that area relax. Good. Good. The biggest thing is you'll find yourself holding, and then all of a sudden when you relax, you went, oh, I didn't know I was holding there. So in Yin, we're working to move deeper into the connections to where the muscles connect into the bones, the ligaments, the tendons. And we're not trying to stretch those areas. We're trying to create space in those areas and just redistribute a little bit of that space. Good, so that it improves the circulation in those areas. Now, some of those connective tissues will never have good circulation, but anything that we do for the space helps. Good. But Yin is about learning more about your body very intimately because we pay so much more attention to each element within the pose. Good. Now, let's think about the rotation towards the right side. Good. You'll have to reposition your whole body as we go from awake deer towards sleeping deer. Good. I'm going to reverse a little bit. Anna's going to stay where she is. Good. And if you had a block, you can always use that. Good. So take a really nice inhale and then rotate to the outside of your front knee. Good. So you want to line up with the thighs. Now, do you need to redistribute where your legs are? More than likely. Good. Does your back thigh come up off the mat a bit sometimes? Good. It's all okay. Good. Do think about the rotation right here in the center of your body. So take a really nice inhale in and rotate first before you even think about going down. Notice where you feel the most sensation in the pose. Good. Did you squeeze the gluteal muscles? Let go. Let go. They don't have anything they need to be doing in this pose, but they just think they need to. So relax them. Soften those sit muscles. Good. Now, as you start to feel more settled in the pose, good, maybe you bend your elbows. Remembering that it takes a period of time for your body to recognize where you're at and to recognize that it's safe for it to feel like it can let go. Now, remembering that everybody has different anatomy, but every yoga pose is for every body is too. So as you look for the body, here you may find you want to put your elbows on the blocks. You know, you can do that. You can have 2 elbows on the blocks. Good. Or you can work your way downward. Maybe your elbows are bent. Good. That's great. Just find which variation works for you. Now, if you are actually on your elbows, you can stack 2 fists. Put your forehead on top of the fists. Good. You can actually stack your arms out and put your forehead on top of that. Good. But you can also just be bent elbows. Perfect place to be as well. Chin towards your chest. Good. So right away, you clenched up everything in the back of the body right through here. So soften. Again, let go of that hold. Good. So reclining deer or sleeping deer. Remember, you may find at one point if your body totally releases so that your torso is coming closer towards the mat, you can take that right hand and stretch it out, bringing your shoulder to the mat. You can bring your head to the side, and you can either keep the elbow bent, good, or you can float the arm up and bring it behind your back, waterfalling. That just means the whole back of the arm's touching. Good, or reaching towards that right jeans pocket. Good, and then falling here into sleeping deer. Remember, it's perfectly all right to just keep that hand right there, palm down near your body. Also notice any place where you're gripping tight and just let go of that hold. Once you've found that spot of solitude or stillness, just breathe right there. Now, after a few moments, you may find that you're ready to take 3 more breaths and then flow out of this pose. And we always do it in reverse. Good, so we float our head up. If the left hand's behind our back, we slide it right underneath the elbow. Good, and lift our body up first. Slide that arm forward if you were in reclined deer. Good, and then just press yourself back up to the hands. Good. And then just slide the knee on top of the other knee and float the legs together towards the front. Beautiful. Now, we're going to move into one last pose and then Shavasana, a resting pose. Now on this one, this is called Banana Asana. That's because it's banana pose. So in banana pose, it's a lateral flexion in your body. So we'll go ahead and come down to our back. So go ahead, Anna, and float to your back. Good. And in that pose, you want to visualize the shape of a banana. Good. So stretch your arms above your head and your feet out. Good. So first thing you want to notice are your elbows off the floor. And if they are, bend your elbows and allow the arms to come to the mat. Good. Now let them actually rest. Now if they still don't want to rest on the mat, no worries. So the first thing you want to do is slide your right leg over to the side a little bit. Good. That's it. Good. And stretch it out all the way. Good, but not too far. Now take your left leg and cross on top of it at the ankle. Good, so out straight. Think about this banana. It's long and skinny.
Okay.
Good, good. So let's do this. So Anna is a little tighter in her shoulders. Stretch out that leg all the way. No, the top leg. Stretch it out. Good. There you go. Good. So sorry, I should have said, may I touch you? Good. Now keep this side of your body down. Now take this arm and just touch it to your forehead like so. Good. Good. Now the other arm, just stretch it out until you can lay it flat out towards the side. Yes. Ah, so you can see the shape of the banana right here. So in your mind's eye, see the roundness of the banana, that curved shape. What you want to think about is only go so far to the side as this whole side of your body will stay down, and the opposite side. Good. So as you're breathing in and out, the other two things to think about is if your arms won't rest flat on the mat, good, you can put one arm on your forehead, you can put one arm at your chest, but the forehead is preferred because you're still opening your shoulder like you would if your arm was out all the way. The other piece is if your arms don't want to go out long, you can bend your elbows so that maybe you're in goalpost arms. Good, or you can slide them down more until they're touching. So then you have a peeled banana. Okay, good. So as you pause here, you should feel a lot of sensation down the side of your body, usually from your armpit, maybe even your elbow down to your ankle. Very nice. So as we get ready to move to the other side, you go ahead and lay your arm back down that's on your forehead. You uncross your legs. Good, come back to the center. Good, and then shift to the side. Good, and cross at the ankle. Good, and have that leg out, the right leg out straight. Yes, there you go. Now you may find that you're closer to the mat. Yeah, good, there you go. Good, so if you want to leave your arms right there, great. Just remember if sometimes your shoulders are being grumpy, the arm, the back of the hand or the back of the wrist on your forearm works really well. It gets the same effect. Good. Now, just think of it as peeled banana if your arms aren't out straight. You know, you can be out here. You know, it's the hardest thing to start peeling a banana sometimes, and this pose is the same way. Good. Excellent. You would think about, when you're here, think about lifting that arm on the curving side as high as you can for it still, yeah, so that you feel that sensation running from your elbow. So you feel that? Mm-hmm. Very good. Excellent. So everybody's a little different as far as your body physiology and conformation, and so long arms, short legs, short torsos, long torsos, same thing. So each person has to find where that pose interprets for them. Now as we get ready to move into Shavasana in a moment, or resting pose, I just wanted to remind you all as viewers that if you enjoy these yoga classes, if you enjoy being able to experiment, to learn, to find out all new different types of things, new crafts, new activities about sharks, whatever, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Henrico Recreation Parks, and be sure and hit the bell because then it'll notify you every time we have a new offering come up. Be sure and subscribe, but also go to our webpage because that will always tune you in, and our Facebook page as well, on what exciting thing is happening for all ages that day. So if you enjoy these, please join the family. So now with that thought, Anna, if you'll come back out of the pose. Good. And then bring the arms down beside your body. Resting pose does not change. Good. We shut our eyes or close them halfway. And just start to breathe and allow yourself to inhale and exhale. You know, this is, we talked earlier about digestive poses, resting poses, that, because this is the opportunity for your body to digest everything that you've done today and make it part of you so that anytime you go to another yin class, you'll know in yoga as well, any type of yoga, whether the class is yin or yang. So as you're breathing in and breathing out, just give yourself a moment to release anywhere where you feel residual tightness in your body. Each time you exhale, have a sensation of growing heavier and settling into the mat, almost as if you're making an imprint of your spine in the mat. So gently start to move your toes and your fingers. Yawn and make happy faces. And bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a really big hug of appreciation for the time that you gave yourself to be here today. Good, a little circle side to side, a little circle forward, back. And then just turn to one side and help yourself up to seated position. Good, and we'll seal today's practice. Good, you can either have your hands on your knees or at heart center in the Anjali Mudra or respect hands, whichever speaks to you today. The light that shines from everyone in your family or in the environment where you're in is unique and special. We come together and we share and celebrate that individuality, and we share that connectivity at the same time. We come together and magnify our efforts in yoga. Thank you for letting me lead your practice today. Namaste.